So there are, let's see, how many other candidates running on the Republican ticket? There are three others?
There are three of us in total.
Three of you in
Mm-hmm.
total. What makes you the most unique or the best qualified out of the three?
Oh, I appreciate you asking me that. Um, this race is a friendly race. I respect the other two candidates and will support them if whoever wins the nomination. Um, the fact that there are three of us running just shows just how badly that we as the Republican Party need to get that seat back. Um, when I made my announcement, I made a couple of bold claims in that in trying to differentiate myself, and I'm proud to say that I believe I followed through with them. Uh, the biggest reason that I said that I would be the best nominee would be because Don Schmidt used to have this position, and Don was probably the best councilman that we could have asked for. Certainly, Russ Jehl is no Don Schmidt, and Karen was managed to beat him. And as far as I can tell, the biggest reason was that Karen knocked on more doors than Don. And none of the three of us, I believe, will be successful unless they match Karen's work ethic and effort. And to date, I've knocked on about 1,000 doors myself. My campaign's hit about 1,500. And so I think we have shown that we will match Karen's work ethic. And I think that's the only way either of the three of us can beat her. I also made a claim that I had legitimate ideas for Fort Wayne, that there was a little bit of substance besides just some conservative rhetoric. And I've had a chance to outline a couple of those with you. One of which was I said I'm not going to support tax increases, and I do have ideas on how to cut expenditures. And I followed through with outlining those. I've outlined small ones, I've outlined big ones. This small one in that I think that we can bring our public access program up to a little bit of modernization, and that if we used more web-based content, that would alleviate our need for as much funding as we have. Second of all, our city consistently picks union wages when doing construction projects. It does not have to do that, and I'm not opposed to us picking a union-based construction company, but I am opposed to forcing ourselves rather than allowing for open competition. And in that, if we were to change that general policy when we select our contractors, that would save millions of dollars a year. So there, so I'm very excited to bring not just rhetoric. I'm excited to bring the work ethic and the ideas that will take the city forward.
How satisfied are you with the direction that our downtown is headed in?
Mm-hmm. In general, as a conservative, we have tried very hard to bring life downtown. That's been controversial because a lot of conservatives said, look, it's not the role of government to centrally plan every aspect of our downtown or to publicly fund it. But I think that we have missed the opportunity to have a very good debate on the direction of downtown in our city's new town hall. And what I mean by that is the reason that we justify the heavy investment in downtown is quite simply because downtown is where our soul is. It's the only place where you can put your finger on the pulse of the community and say, this is Fort Wayne. And you do that by creating activity. Our city in its charrette has put the phrase, a positive pedestrian experience. I'm a little bit concerned. I don't think that quite defines it, but I get the idea. You need to have people downtown in order to be able to feel the soul of the city. So we've invested heavily in if you pick your project, Headwaters Park, Harrison Square, the Convention Center, the library, and we've got all these great buildings. We've got these great projects, but they're not quite able to collectively, consistently generate the activity, the foot traffic downtown that's needed to create the identity that we're looking for. So now, last year we had the opportunity with the city, town hall, the place where democracy can start because it is the people's house locally. I call it the center of the center of the wheel. We've got all these spokes coming out from it, and we completely struck out. We bought basically an ivory tower, and I'm just concerned because I think it shows our administration's complete lack of understanding of what downtown and downtown development is really all about. Because they certainly have understood how to put the dollars into it. They've certainly understood how to put the effort in spending, but not in planning. And let me just identify just a couple of constructive criticisms with it. First of all, the building does not invite the public. It does not have grass. It does not have park benches. The windows themselves are tinted so you can't see in. The sidewalks are narrow. The only thing it connects to is a parking garage. And then when we talk about our art district, the side that it shows is the dumpster corral to our civic center, museum, and our history museum. It is the antithesis of everything we have been spending money to try to create. And I'm just so disappointed. Something as simple as an outdoor cafe would have done more to generate foot traffic than this entire project. It does not invite the public to it, and so my concern when we talk about downtown development, it's not about the money. It's not about the central planning. It's about creating the atmosphere through space in which you can identify or create the soul of the community. And I've just been very concerned that we have done everything wrong as a city in that project. And before we can actually start identifying those goals of what real downtown development is, the objectives are, I don't think that we should be spending any more money in any of these other major projects, because we don't need another big project. We need the link to connect them all. And that was what our town hall should have been about.
Do you think it's time to bring back or not bring it back, but maybe pull it off the shelf and dust it off a little bit, maybe do some charrettes, the Blueprint Plus, and then we did the Blueprint for downtown originally, and then a few years later we did the Blueprint Plus, which was kind of pulling it off the shelf and looking at it,
right,
and revamping.
Right.
Is that something you think we need to look at?
You know, I rather than dusting it off, I'd rather start over. The positive pedestrian experience, that's the epitome of a positive pedestrian experience is a bunch of coffee shops downtown. Downtown's so much bigger than that. Really what will make downtown vibrant again is when we get the buildings full from the second floor up with gainfully employed people. From there, when you look at Indianapolis, where does all that vibrant activity come from? Well, if you go there on a Sunday afternoon, it's a lot different than a Monday morning. And a lot of us think about that Monday morning activity and don't realize that comes from there being so many people employed downtown. And so we've kind of started with the coffee shop first when it comes to our charrettes. We've mixed it up with this concept of mixed use, which is a big fancy phrase for saying we really don't know what we want. And then we've gone and just said, hey, let's just let the government do project after project, and it's fine. There's a role for leadership, especially because so much of downtown is our municipal groups and buildings, but it's lacked the leadership and foresight that's really required to both generate the economic activity that is necessary for the positive pedestrian experience, and at the same time creating the positive pedestrian experience that would bring anything from tourism to shoppers downtown. And we've got a lot of good pieces to the puzzle, but we just don't have the administration in place that really understands how to organize them and get them all to be sustainable.